It's been a little bit over a year since I quit nicotine, and I wanted to make this video about quitting just in case there's anyone out there who wants to, but they're having a little bit of trouble. Everybody's a little bit different, so I'm not saying that everything that worked for me will 100% work for you. I'm just going to say everything that happened to work for me, or I at least feel it worked for me. And, you can take what you want and leave what you don't. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 18, and I started by bumming off friends after we would drink or something like that, and eventually I ended up buying packs, and I got to a point where I was smoking a pack a day for about 4 years. After that 4 years, I switched to vaping, and I was actually pretty lucky when I switched because I happen to have an aunt that lived close by who would leave her cigarettes on her back porch, so I'd end up sneaking up there to grab a couple every night. It really helped me to wean off the cigarettes when I would vape all day and then sneak a cigarette or two at midnight. And naturally, when it came time, I just cut out the midnight cigarette and everything was all good. I want to start off by saying that nicotine is not the worst thing that you could be addicted to, but that doesn't mean it's a joke either. You should take it seriously. For a lot of people, myself included, it was really easy to just think, oh, it's just nicotine, it's all good, I'll quit cold turkey, and then be back to smoking a day or two later. And I can remember 3 or 4 times trying to go cold turkey and then finding literally any excuse that I can, sometimes a day, sometimes a week later, to smoke. Some people seem to be able to just throw their pack or their vape away and then move on with their lives, but I know that I needed more, so I basically had to treat it like I was detoxing, which is effectively what kicking nicotine is anyway. After 3 days, you don't feel any physical cravings like headaches or jitters or anything like that. The only thing that really remains is the mental urge to smoke, which for me is basically non-existent. I think one of the big things that helped me was that I took 3 days off of work, and during those 3 days, I also tried to avoid anything that would stress me out or basically that would just make the cravings any worse than they already were. During the 3 days, I tried to stay as busy as I could with things that I did not associate with vaping or nicotine of any kind. And it wasn't that hard, but it was a little bit weird for me. Usually when I had absolutely positively nothing to do, I'd just end up playing video games. But the thing is, I would vape a lot while I was playing video games, so it kind of made it a little bit difficult for me to feel comfortable playing them. I did play a little bit, but I tried my best to be very careful. If I felt like I wanted to vape or anything like that, I'd end up moving on to a new activity. I did sleep a lot, and I think that helped a lot because for one thing, it kind of is hard to feel cravings when you're not awake, but in addition to that, it also helped pass the 3 days a little bit quicker. I did have a little bit of a headache for most of the 3 days. It wasn't like a raging, head-splitting headache or anything like that, but it was something that made me want to sleep just a little bit, so it was kind of easy for me to sleep the 3 days away. Other than that, I basically just went to the gym and maybe I'd take a walk every now and again, maybe go to the store, something like that. It was very bare bones. I didn't do too much for the 3 days. Another thing that I did that really saved me on the first day is trick my brain by telling myself that I could vape, just not right now. The first day was probably the most challenging for me, and one of the ways I got through it was by telling myself that I could take a hit of my vape at 8 p.m. that night. And when 8 p.m. came around, instead of taking the hit, I told myself, no, I'm gonna wait until 8 p.m. tomorrow. And it really did help me. Another thing that I think was absolutely imperative to my success was that I didn't worry about anything that would stress me out. I didn't worry about sticking to a diet, and I really ate a lot of junk food. It was kind of nice. I didn't worry about doing taxes or any other weird things that were going to stress me out. I basically just tried to make myself as comfortable as possible. The last thing I'll say is that I think it really helped me that I didn't bother counting the days. And I know counting the days does help some people. They like to see how much of a streak they can build up. But for me, I didn't really think it was going to help much, so I didn't bother. Now, obviously, everybody's aware of when day 1 is, which means everybody knows when day 2 is, so on and so forth. But for me, I didn't even know when it was a month. I tried to make sure that I avoided counting the days, because if I was counting the days, that would mean I'm thinking about nicotine, which would mean I'm going to want nicotine. I learned that little aspect about myself after the, I think, 3rd or 4th time that I tried and failed to quit cigarettes cold turkey. With that said though, that's really everything that I can remember that I think helped me to quit cigarettes. And I really hope that if you smoke cigarettes or vape or dip or whatever kind of nicotine product you use, you're able to get rid of it. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I never miss nicotine. I do miss cigarettes every now and again, but it's nothing serious. I'm also not gonna lie to you and act like I have superpowers now or some other weird thing like that. I think for the first week or two, I felt pretty good, and then after that, I kind of returned to my normal baseline of how I tend to feel. With that said though, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and also sub for more. If you have anything to say, leave a comment down below. And if you have any questions for me, hit me up on Instagram at ScottSullivanMMA. I love making question and answer videos for people. Other than that, thank you very much for watching and good luck out there.